Yo, my peoples, what's up? Welcome to the One Stop Co-op Shop. Jason here today of a solo playthrough for Tiny Epic Cthulhu. This one is a classic cooperative game for 1 to 4 players in which you are playing investigators in the Lovecraft universe. You are going to be going around Argmore City, fighting off against horrible shamblers and resisting their tentacle attacks, ultimately trying to stop the rise of an old one. This one we're playing against Mormo. Very classic situation you may be familiar with from any of the Arkham Files games. We have so many here in gaming. However, it has some tiny epic twists, including the much discussed spinner, where we're going to be spinning tentacles and shooting out effects that we have to deal with on our way to victory. So I will get into an overview of the base game, show you what the expansion adds, and then get into a full solo playthrough with 2 characters of Tiny Epic Cthulhu. And we're going to get going after these brief channel announcements. We are the One Stop Co-op Shop, a multi-platform gaming empire, and your one stop for solo and cooperative gaming goodness. So let's jump into a full playthrough. I'm going to jump in pretty early. I think this game needs to be seen in order to really understand what's going on, kind of in action. But let me talk about the good guys and bad guys first, and then we'll jump in. So here is one of my good guys. I'm playing a 2-player game. We have the astronomer, who comes with a meeple that'll start out on the field, and a power, which I'll show as we go on. Big thing to note here is this section, which is where every character stores their tentacles. Throughout the course of the game, as you can see on the town map over here, there are going to be these 3 colors of tentacles. The characters are going to collect them, and as they collect them, they get better at stuff. So it's like it's them corrupting the land, or the old one, but the player is going to use that corruption in order to improve their own personal power. Very much Cthulhu-esque. So with blue, we have improved running. We'll be able to cover more of the field. With rage, we'll be able to manipulate things as we kill shamblers. And with greed, we'll be able to gather more things as we have tentacles there. A couple things to say about this. Number 1, a lot of Tiny Epic Cthulhu is going to come down to token flow. There are a lot of different places where tokens exist in this game. Some good for the players, some not so good for the players. In fact, the game maps out that the different journeys that tokens can take, whether it's on the player mat or somewhere near the boss, etc. So that is not an accident. Token flow is a big part of what you got to do in this game. So that's number 1. Number 2, when the conditions trigger, you want to avoid this, of having too many. So you want a couple, but you don't want a whole bunch. So when I get a third in any of these tracks, then I lose them all. They get banished, and I'll show you where the banishment is in a second, and we become more mad. Generally in Cthulhu games, I don't love that, as you get more quote-unquote insane, that's how you get more powerful, etc. And then you get too insane, then you're going to die. That's a very, very tried and true mechanism in Cthulhu games. Psychotherapists here don't love the idea that going more insane is, more powerful and dying, etc. I have plenty to say about that. But anyway, just know that's the mechanism. Just telling you how I see it. As the delusion rank goes up, then the character will get a little bit more powerful. So we're going to be rolling dice, and that'll give us a re-roll. So if this happens to us 3 times, then we can re-roll all 3 dice in a move, which is really powerful. But then that last track means that the character will die and the game will end. That is one of the game's 2 big losing conditions. The other big losing condition comes on the mat directly of the old one. Now, there's a bunch of old ones. I'm using one from the expansion. This one is Mormo. Generally, the big difference is the layout of the different distribution of numbers here and powers. And I'll get into the powers as I get into the playthrough. I'll probably trigger some pretty early. So this tracker will track how powerful the old one is as the game goes on. The old one is looking for these black tentacles, which are shuffled in. Not very many at the beginning, but as the game goes on, the game is going to kind of pull more and more of these black tokens in, and they'll come out of the bag. When the enemy fills their track, which is that they get 3 of them, they're going to dump whatever they have here, along with tokens in the discard mat. So again, token flow. As I use tokens, they'll get collected here and then flushed into the bag. With this mechanism of the old one collecting black tentacles, boss is going to get stronger. This number represents how many tokens will come from the bag from turn to turn, pandemic style. So as the old one gets stronger, more and more tentacles are going to get pulled up. If I make it through phase 1 and the boss reaches this final number, then that is the game's other lose condition. But if I'm able to spend that phase 1 and collect enough of these pages, that's the main thing I want to do, which is collect these pages. If I get enough of them, then I will trigger the boss's phase 2, and they'll open up these portals, and I'll show you how those work as we go along. But the game's end condition is to fill up these 6 portals before the boss gathers strength on its other side. So here is the game's main board, Aukmore, which has 5 city sections. So I'm going to have a small menu of actions available to me that I'll demonstrate. Also, each town sector has a power that I can use. I'll get into that as I get into the playthrough. This is what the people want to know about, which is the spinner. Lots of discussion about this during the original Kickstarter because people don't love spinners, especially ones that have a chance to be kind of poorly constructed and they don't have the durability over time. So as you can see, the cardboard is pretty thick. We have some durability down there as well. Some pretty good plastic. Does this thing give a good spin? Well, I have that all tipped a little bit. Let's try that again. Pretty good spin, and I'll be demonstrating that a whole bunch as we go into the playthrough. So your mileage may vary, whether you're going to feel like this is going to be a spinner that lasts you for years and years. But let's go ahead and get into the first round of play. Always begin with a spin of madness. So we follow the beginning or the head of the spin, which is this. And then this would be the tail, which is also going to mean something when I read this. Okay, so 4 things happen whenever the wheel is spun. Number 1, we look at the head and we look at the power that it is pointing to, and you do that power. So in this particular case, it is one of the 2 good symbols. There are plenty of bad ones, especially this, which is what will fire off boss powers. The green, the blue, and the red. However, I got a decent one, which means to take a token off of the Shambler mat and put it in the discard mat. Token flow is the name of the game. So when the tokens are here, they're locked. That is a bad thing because we want these madness tokens to be in circulation. The more I pull of these, the more I can get them, and the less that the boss gets black tokens. So what the game is telling me that I can do is take one of these tokens and put them into general circulation. So I will welcome that for the time being. Now we're going to hit the second step of triggering the boss turn, which is to place tokens in the zone where the tentacle is pointing to. So happen to luck out because the astronomer is there, is going to be able to deal with it. So I pull one at a time. That's pretty important that you do so, and place depending on what comes out. So I got a blue, and the blue is going to get it placed over here. And they are going to collect this way to this way. Let's see what else I got. Oh, I got a green. Ooh. See, that's not good. Not good because if this is a third green, then just like a lot of things in the game, I think it's going to wipe out. That puts these tokens into the Shambler area. That is not good because they're locked away. So I'm going to want to have to do something about this. Also, more devastating, if this next one is a green, then I'm going to have the boss trigger their power. The green power is, and they're all the same for all the monsters, just depends on the color. Take all of the tokens from anywhere adjacent to where the boss is pointing and redistribute them to the players. So this is going to give me tokens. You see where the mixed blessing is here, because if I don't have any tokens, great, thank you for your tokens. If I have tokens, it's going to overload me and push me closer to death. So that's one way that Mormo is going to push me. Other ones will summon more Shamblers and do other nasty effects. But I do get a third. If it is black, then it's going to go straight to the boss mat, which isn't the worst thing in the world. Let's see. Anyway, we got another blue, so that's going to show up right there. So now we get to step 3 and 4 of the activation, which is to trigger the tail. You're wondering, why was this a spinner? The game mechanism here is that they like doing for one spin these 4 effects that affect kind of throughout the entire board. That's harder to pull off with just one die roll. So that's kind of the story of the spinner. All right. So number 3 is to get a shambler. Every single turn we'll see a new shambler. They are going to show up here across. So they'll be waiting for me. Same thing with the shamblers. If I get to 4 shamblers, then they're going to disappear, which is a good thing, but they're also going to put a black token into circulation. So that's how the boss increases their number of black tokens they can pull. And finally, the old one is hanging out. They are manifested. They're still too weak to take over the universe, but they are strong enough to prevent me from going to this particular town square. So while this token isn't here, and while it's phase 1, I can't enter this place. Matter of fact, if I had a player character here, their first move would need to be to move out of here somehow. So triggering the boss every single turn is a 4-step process. Those are the 4 steps. Let's get to some heroizing. All right, so we are going to start off with the Doctor. Their power, every time you draw tentacles from the bag, you put 1 tentacle back and then draw 1 more. So I had that in reserve in case I pulled another green one. So had I pulled that instead of that blue, I probably would have put that back in the bag and drawn again. But I'd have to do that, so the doc is free to go. Yes, they're wearing a plague mask. It's supposed to be 19th century New England, not 17th century Italy. Another one we might let slide because, hey, board games. So they are going to appear in the town, and wherever they appear for the first turn of the game, they are going to have the Necronomicon page uncovered. Generally, the pages are going to show up uncovered, so I have to do something in order to reveal them, which usually means move on there. But I can't move right now because the old one's in the way. So how am I going to deal with this? Well, for now, we're just going to do some town actions and go from there. So I'm going to do the town action for my first of 3 activations. First one, add 1 Chaos Tentacle from the general supply to the discard mat. Right now, I have 3 tokens completely out of circulation in the general. That's not where I want those to be. I want those to be in play. So I'm going to use this action to put this into the discard mat. So when the boss gets their 3 tokens and flushes this, I'll have 1 extra Chaos Tentacle available to me potentially. Chaos Tentacles are mostly good. They do 2 things. Number 1, I could discard in order to get a whole nother activation. That's super powerful. You're going to see me do that most of the time. It also serves as a wild when I want to claim one of these Necronomicon pages, which I'm going to do that with the rest of my turn. So my second action is going to be to gather a green and put that right there. So this is a greed tentacle. If I wanted to, if it was available to me, then I can use my last action of the turn in order to take this one. And if there was another one, I could take both because my base is 1, and then adding the greed, I'd be able to take 2. You'll see that next turn from the astronomer. This turn, though, what I'm going to do is, because I feel like chilling over here and claiming this, I'm going to discard that and that as a wild. So that'll count as blue. And now I have a Necronomicon page. I shall replace that off the top of the deck. And now next time I want to uncover this, then someone else has to come in and land on the space in order to reveal it. No, you cannot be in a town space, move quote unquote 0 squares and uncover this, which by the way is such a gamer thing to do. Move 0 squares. What are you going to do? Jump up and stamp your feet? No, that's not how games work. But it doesn't stop gamers from asking. And now we get to the main way that we progress through phase 1 and the phase 2, the Necronomicon. So I claimed 2 different chapters, chapter 2 and chapter 4. So I marked those off. The job is to fill all 25 of these. So I'm going to be pretty busy, uncovering and claiming the different Necronomicon pages. And along the way, I'm going to want to try to do so in a way that I fill up rows and columns. As I fill up a column, I'll be able to claim that chaos token and put it into general circulation. Right now they're out of circulation. I want them in. So I'm going to try to go for a 1, 3, 5 or something along those lines to unlock that. As I complete rows, same thing. I want to get these going as well. The instant I get my 25 Necronomicon pages, that's what's going to progress the boss to phase 2 immediately. as I hunt future Necronomicon pages, I'm going to hunt for these symbols particularly as well. There are 3 of them to coordinate with the 3 colors. And also the 3 portals. In phase 2, we'll be able to enter the old one square. And I'll be able to roll against the threshold here of one of these portals, quote unquote. So the more symbols I have, the more dice that I can roll. The dice have 3 faces, the 0 face, 1 and 2. So there's 0, 0, 1, 1, 2, 2 distribution. So as I roll, I'm going to want lots of dice and make sure I clear some of these thresholds along the way. But that's all the way in phase 2. Let's keep on going with phase 1. So the doctor's turn is over. Let's see what the astronomer has in for them. All right, so that spun basically on over here. So yeah, you're going to have to do a little bit of reading on the spinner. It's another slightly annoying thing, but it's okay. So it is pointed towards the blue. If it were perfectly on the line, then just kind of read the next circle, but I can see a little daylight. So here, what's going to happen with that blue power? For Mormo, they are going to take all of the blue tentacles that are within 1. So look at that. We got all here. We are going to go 1, 2, 3, 4 and distribute them among all the players. Devastating. Or potentially devastating if it was not the beginning of the game. So I can hold them right now, but if the boss does that shenanigan again, so that is totally fine for now. Next thing that's going to happen is the 3 token pulls. So we're going to go ahead and place those one at a time. We have a red. The boss is really starting to focus. I don't like that at all. Black ones are going to begin to fill up our baddies meter. And we also have a yellow. This is from the expansion. You were wondering what this guy was doing. Here is the cultist. They are going to provide a little bit of extra opposition that's not available in the base game. So how they work is when you see one of these tokens, and there's a couple shuffled in, they are going to move 1 step clockwise. Like I said, they're going to move 1 step clockwise. Yep. So the one thing they do to help me is that they are going to reveal these cards along the way. So we have a 1, 2, 5. That's a little bit of a bigger one. Functionally, they're competing with me for these Necronomicon pages. So they want to cast this spell. So they are, as their next thing, collect 1 token depending on priority. They would have collected blue first, but there's none available. So let's go. They collect the one that is available to them. And they are going to try to cast a spell. So any turn where they fill their meter, they're going to discard all 3 of them into the Shambler mat. And wherever they land, so this will be face up for them, they are going to cast the spell, quote unquote. So I'm trying to fill my Necronomicon. They're trying to fill their thing too. So let's say they get 1, 2, 5. Then instead of covering the numbers, they would unleash the followers. So those followers would get distributed to the different Necronomicon page stations and basically act as a block. So the more followers are at a Necronomicon page, the harder it is to get. I got to spend extra tokens to kind of deal with them. I also can just attack them directly. That's a little bit of a waste. I'm going to try to slow the bot down as much as I can. If the bot gets through a row of followers, then they will put some tokens into the bag. So more cultist tokens and then more eldritch tokens. That's bad. But the worst part is if they summon all of their followers. If all 10 followers are gone, that is another game-losing condition. The spinner phase number 3, I checked the back of the tentacle. They're pointing towards this blue shambler right here. So let's get a blue shambler into line. Conga. They are full. The old one's going to appear here. So for whatever reason, the park is really attracting people, but there's nothing I could do about it. It could be this next spin, they explode and unleash a black tentacle. That's not bad. All right, it is now the astronomer's main set of actions. They get 3. And they are going to make a goal of defeating this shambler, but we are going to set ourselves up to do it first. So first step, gather. So I'm going to do that, which does a couple of things. Number 1, it makes me more efficient at gathering. Number 2, it lessens pressure over here. We're going to gather again, and the astronomer's power is I can collect tentacles from up to 1 location to the left or right when from my current location when I do it. So they are very efficient tentacle gatherers. So the second action is going to be, because I have 1 greed tentacle, I can take 2 tentacles from the board. So I'm going to take the green and the red over here to lessen pressure on both. For my third action of the turn, I'm going to try to take out a Shambler. So that involves a die roll. And so I collect 1 die per Shambler present. So if there are 2 Shambler presents, roll 2, and the third Shambler would make me roll 3. When it comes to defeating Shamblers, more dice is actually bad because I have to use the worst outcome of whatever dice I roll. In this particular case, then the lower the number, the better. The worse is a little bit higher. So we go ahead and give that a roll. Remember, it is 0, 1, 2 on the distribution. That is a 1. All right, so remember the main rule of Tiny Epic Cthulhu. It is about token flow. So, in order to defeat this Shambler, I need to discard the same color of tentacle. To have it on my board and then discard it. I discard 1 to defeat the Shambler. So that is handled. So when you go after a Shambler, have the tentacles that you need. Sometimes you might go at it with either 1 or none. It's possible on the dice, and as you get rerolls, you might even want to go after it, just to if you really want to get rid of some Shamblers. But for the most part, try not to just set yourself up for empty rolls. So that's okay. All right. So I have defeated the Shambler. It is there. When I defeat a Shambler, I get to unlock one of the Shambler mat tokens and put them into general distribution. So that's a good thing. I also made sure that I had 1 rage token before I did that. So for every rage token, I can put back an extra one, and it has to be of the same color. So more tokens into distribution. If I had 2 rage tokens, then I could put back another token, a madness token off of the Shambler mat. So that's my 3 main actions, but my turn isn't technically over. I still have these 2 Chaos Tentacles. I can discard 1 for an extra action, and I think I'm going to do so because I don't want to be on the board too much and have like excess tokens on my mat if I can help it. Sometimes you can't. Okay, so I am going to use a Chaos token and put that into the discard mat. And use these 2 greed tokens, bye-bye, in order to claim this page off of the Necronomicon, which gives me access to the 2 and the 5. I am setting myself up to not need as many 2s. That's good. When I take that, I get a new card down. And so that covers most of the rules. This didn't come up, but let me just put this in here in this first round tutorial. Another thing that I can do, especially if I'm low on tokens, is I can move around to where a Shambler is, which I haven't done yet. If I did that, then the Shambler attacks me by pulling 1 token from the bag, which could be great when you need tokens. It could be terrible when you're full on tokens and it ends up overfilling you. So at one point in the turn, I had a full blue and full green, so that would have been a terrible time to move. If you move, you want to empty out a little bit so that you can absorb what the tentacle monsters are throwing at you. But I didn't do any of that. You saw all the moves that I did. Pretty happy with those turns so far. I think that is enough to cover you for the main moves in Tiny Epic Cthulhu. Let's jump in. All right, top of the order, we have our friend the Doctor, and they spun a good one. So any token, which is going to be green because that's built up a little bit, is going to be moved to the discard mat. And we're going to pull a couple of tokens for this mat. Hopefully we do not pull blue. We got blue. Of course we got blue. This is the Doctor's turn, so I pull another one, then that's definitely getting returned to the bag. We got green, and we have more green. A blue Shambler is going to show up over there on the other side on the observatory. And finally, this thing is going to get their big butt moving. So if the Shambler begins the turn, then this astronomer has to move, but it's not the astronomer's turn right now. So the Doctor does not like the look of those gathered Shamblers on the outskirts of the park. So they are going to jump in. Bravo! Boom! So they are going to get attacked with 3 tentacles out of the bag. 1 per Shambler, and they have a full track, so that's not great. But the Doctor is more mobile than most of the characters because each time you draw tentacles from the bag, you may put 1 tentacle back and then draw 1 more. So let's see what I get. We get a cultist tentacle that goes directly on the discard mat, and the cultist is going to sort of kind of do me a favor. Hello there. I will like to check out your Necronomicon page and also lighten the load of tentacles. You see, I'm helping. A black tentacle, which is a super early position to be in terms of pulling those two. There's only 3 in the bag. There's tons else to pull. Not very lucky there. I could use my power to re-pull that, but that would invite another blue tentacle coming at me, which I don't want. And lastly, let's go ahead and put that red one there. Perfect for monster hunting. Let's do it. All right, so first of all, I'm going to go after that blue one. I got to roll all 3, and I got to take the highest value that I see. See all 3 numbers. Here's the 2. So that's okay because I wanted to get rid of these 2 blues. So that Shambler goes back. I get that back. Those go to the discard mat, and I've emptied the blue Shambler mat of blue tokens. With a third action, let's go ahead and take one of these greed tokens so that when their turn comes up again, they can scoop up more and claim this Necronomicon page. There were a lot of rules in that teach, but a lot of them govern token flow. Actual turns are pretty fast. Let's go ahead and give that one a spin. Oh, a green power for the peoples. That one worked out for me because there aren't a lot of green in the 3 adjoining areas. So that is just that 1, and I can distribute it to whoever I want. That's going to go to the astronomer who's going to go now. So the tokens that are going to come out are red, blue, and green. We have the rainbow. That's not the rainbow. What am I talking about? That's a cultist token. So they are going to move, and now we're going to actually see a spell being cast. Tried to prevent this, couldn't do so. So they're going to move here and uncover this one. So now they're going to take this token and put that on their mat, and that is the full complement, and now they are going to cast a spell. So those go on the Shambler mat. Of course, the cultist isn't going to do a good thing for me. And they are going to claim this card. So that card gets discarded. All right, so they are going to summon followers to 1 and 3 relative to where they are. So how does that work? So this is, in this turn, technically the number 1 spot. A follower is going to go on there. In order for me to deal with this Necronomicon page, I'd have to spend 1 extra madness token in order to defeat it, or do a banish a follower action, which is a separate roll based on how many runes I have. The more runes I have, the more I can roll against it. But that's a separate action. They're annoying. The third one is going to go 2, 3 up top to that page card. There's always a lot happening with the Wheel of Madness. So we have over here, this tail tentacle is pointed towards the red. So they get a red right there. And the old one is going to move out of the astronomer's way. They can stay there if they want to and end up at the library. Time for the astronomers go. They have 1 of every token, as you can see. So the blue means they can go an extra card for when they move. So the astronomer could theoretically go 1, 2 and join the doctor here, which I'm tempted to help deal with this situation. However, I would get risk 2 tentacles coming in, which could trigger one of those overflows. The game calls that a cursed, but I like overflow because it tells you what the thing actually is. So I could do that, but I think I want to let the doctor collect that green rune. It's good to stack runes. So when it comes to the followers attacking them, it doesn't matter what rune. If I have 3 runes, I can attack with 3 dice. That's great. For the old one, I roll 1 per of that color rune that I have. So I do want stacks for that. So instead, I will mosey on over here 1 and allow the Shambler there to attack me for 1, which will be another chaos, which is the odds of that are pretty good. There's 5 of those in the bag. We're getting pretty low. Hello there. I wonder what that one looks like. We have a green and a red, which is nice, and they're going to prioritize taking the blue away from me. So the follower makes it harder for me to get the card, but at least I can still see it pretty good. So now that actually works out for me because I am going for blue with this character, and I have the tokens to deal with that thing. So because I have all the requisite tokens, I'm not going to spend an extra action to get rid of that follower. Let's just get rid of it now. I can put it back in either of the empty numbers. Doesn't matter for now. And claim this page for my second action. So I get the 4 and the 5, which you don't want to get too far ahead on particular numbers because then you're way limited in options. So I'm going to try with my next one to get one that has a 1 and a 3. Well, look at that, sitting right there for me. You get a new card that'll get uncovered by Cultist a little bit later. I like keeping ahead of that so that the Cultist can reveal as much as it can on their turns. And then the last thing is this power. I'm going to go ahead and read it. It's upside down to you, but I'll read it out loud. Take 0, 1, or 2 madness tokens of any color from the discard mat and add them to your player mat on the matching temperament track. And so I want to take a chaos tentacle, but it specifically says madness tentacles. So it has to be one of the 3 colors. So let's go ahead and take 2 green. And then I'm going to use my second and final chaos tentacle to roll at this guy. I have my 2 tentacles, so I'm going to get rid of them. So I just need to roll a 1 would be nice. That is a 1, perfect. Let's get rid of that Shambler. So we're getting rid of that Shambler over here. We're going to put that in the discard mat and take off the Shambler mat and put that right there. We're getting close to a wipe on the discard mat. We're going to spin the Wheel of Fate. And we haven't gotten that symbol yet. That means that when I do the token pull, then I pull 1 extra. Getting close to pulling that last black, but no dice yet. Instead, let's play with fire on the red ones. We are going to get a green Shambler right over here, and the old one is going to stay put right where they are. Let's take advantage of greed. We are pulling a blue and a green off of the mat, and I've had that looking at that for a while. Let's put those back onto the discard mat and claim this Necronomicon page, which will give me 1, 3. Oh, Tiny Epic, thank you for making me improve my dexterity. 5. So now I have 1 column completed, and we have unlocked this chaos token to be in general supply. Or I'm sorry, but that general supply is a bad thing. That's off of the area into the discard mat. So now let's mosey on back to the inn, which triggers seeing what this Necronomicon card does. 1, 4, 5 with a follower in the way. Pretty far away from that from the time being, but I like those numbers. So let's go ahead. I have 2. So hopefully I can just get not a 0/0 and wipe it out. That is not a 0/0. So the follower goes, oh boy. I am back where I don't want to be, reading in the library and not in the town. I got those 2 quick black ones, but I'm really lucky not getting another pull. And, wow, really lucky in getting a positive effect. So now we have that. I'm putting a red into the discard mat. We are going to pull 3 for this area of the mat. All right, so first of all, let's go 1. We got the last cultist tentacle. So they are going to mosey on over. Flip that one over. Wow, that is a lot of numbers right there. And claim that red. So now it is 1 green tentacle away from casting a spell. So I need to make sure, just to be mindful of that. It's not totally debilitating, but more spells equals more obstacles for me. Second pull is the black one. So they are going to wipe that off the mat. They are going to progress their power. Finally, take all of these, put them into the discard, put them into the draw bag, and my last pull will be with all of these. So I could see another tentacle, another cultist tentacle, another elf tentacle, etc. The last pull is a lowly green. So they are going to summon a green Shambler. I think I've read that direction a little bit right. And the old one is going to mosey on back over to the park, which is where they spend a lot of their time. I'm surprised this one hasn't exploded yet. Although I was here taking them down, so happy about that. The astronomer has 1 lowly green tentacle in order to claim, so that's the perfect time in order to mosey on over to a place where there is a bunch of Shamblers. The Shamblers go, bleh! Is that how Shamblers sound? Sure, we're going to go with it. And pull 2. Oh, no! That's not good at all. I thought I was going to get some tokens out of that. So the cultist is going to go, thank you, don't mind if I do. Nothing for the cultist to do here because there's no tokens to claim and it can't cast that spell. And this is also open, so don't have to worry about that. At least they are going to do something here. They're going to uncover that. Wow, that's a lot of symbols. And they need a green. There is no green out in the field yet, and hopefully the doctor can come by and claim it before that one appears. So at least let's do something. I have one green tentacle. I could roll a 2 pretty easily and to have a no-op, but gotta try. That's pretty good. I don't add them. I just take the highest. So let's go ahead and take that guy and also my one green and free up another green tentacle. I've had pretty good luck with those. I haven't pushed luck so far, so I don't feel so bad. For the astronomer's last action, they're going to do an astronomer thing. They're going to take out their telescope and yoink, take one token from an adjacent mat. All right, another spin of the madness wheel. Oh, we have greens that get distributed everywhere. Having that power, along with this bot, which is picking up some of the tokens, and also some of the tokens, being these, not as many madness. It's not distributing this many tokens. I didn't know this when I first set this up in terms of this combination of baddies, but it's not putting as much pressure on me as I thought it would. That goes to the doctor. So in this zone, it is going to place a green, a blue, and I got my first chaos token out of the bag. I get a chaos tentacle for myself. Now, that could have been bad because if I had pulled 2, then this all would have disappeared and gone to the general supply out of circulation. I would have had to do special things to get them back in, so that is no good at all. Luckily, I avoid that fate. So we are instead going to take one of the blue shamblers, because that's where the arrow is pointing, and get that old one. Bleh! Ew, you are gross. Which leads to the doctor jumping right in. So first, we get a tentacle thrown at me by the shambler right there. That's going to be a green, which is actually not what I wanted. Oh well, we'll work with it. So I can claim these 2 with my greed. I cannot claim the other green right over here because that would overload me. That'd be a bad thing. So third action, let's go ahead and take out that shambler. Again, I want to spend, but not overspend. That is no spending. So that didn't quite work out, but I will take what I can get. I don't think I can volunteer to get rid of tokens. That is a shame. All right, so that was 1, 2, 3 actions. Let's clear this because now you see it's important to have that clear, have space there. That gives me an extra action so I can spend these 2 tokens to claim this last green. I mean, I don't have to have it, the last green, but it is quite useless to have more than 3 of any particular color. Getting the 3 is very good. Getting the 5, a mixed blessing at best. I'll get that token earlier. But anytime where I claim a card that has a 5 on it, that would be like a wasted tick tentacle. So you have to kind of balance that as you fill that in. I like keeping the mat clear, so we're going to spend that chaos token as well. On this one, I'll read it in case you have trouble reading vertical text. Spend 2 matching tentacles to banish a shambler of the same color on any location. Look at that. So I have those 2 to spend, and right next to the astronomer at the library, let's go ahead and get rid of that shambler. No locked up tokens there, so wow, what a big turn. Spin the wheel of madness. Red is going to get distributed, and there is plenty of red down here. However, I've been making pretty sure to be mindful of this because I had a game where I wasn't. Pain is the best teacher. So in these, I guess that would be 3 areas. There are only 3 tentacles. Set that up so I was able to just absorb all those tentacles without having to deal with too much. Let's get 3 tentacles down here. Feels like I've been pulling 3 for a very, very long time. So let's get 2 blue and a green out of the bag. And then over here we have a red along with the old one hopping on over. So I said before, I'm not going to get too much out of having these greens there. So I'm going to use the power here. Flip over to flip over or discard 2 page cards of your choice. So let's discard those 2. I'm not having problem uncovering things with the cultist running around. So that gets discarded and we get 2 new ones. I don't see them, but that's not the end of the world. So that is the first action. Second action, let's go ahead and move here. Plenty of room for tokens, so a nice shot of tokens, kind of goading the Shamblers to throw their vile bile at me. Do that one at a time. We have a red. We have a blue. I was hoping for a green, but that's okay. And a chaos, so that is really nice. Landing here, we'll uncover that. Oh, perfect. Wasn't even planning for that at all. So I was going to go after that red one, but this is just presenting itself to me. So let's just go ahead and take advantage. Fortune favors the bold. Finished off my blues, and now I need oranges, and there's only one orange out there so far. I finished this second column, so another chaos token goes into the mat. Not much more I want to do right now, so I'm good to go. I need a spinning the wheel of madness song. Do not have one of those. It just did the same exact thing. It had already cleared out the red, so thank goodness. So it is going to go blue. Oh, that's not a good sign. Green. I should be moving O's of those from the beginning. And oh boy. Blue is boom. So finally I get the chance to demonstrate this. So these go to, on the location move, over to the Shambler mat. And the bot has to do the power only for blue in this area. So they are going to take this blue. Astronomer's already full on blues. Give that one to the doctor. This area gets a red because it's pointed mostly towards the red. And the old one stays right where they are. First thing they're going to do, they're going to spend 2 magic tentacles to banish a Shambler of the same color. So let's spend these 2 magic tentacles, clearing off the doctor's path. So much of this is making sure that I can move around freely. I could move around freely before. And with that, I get to remove a Shambler. I did that before. The wording is specifically banish a Shambler. And looking at the rules, when a Shambler is banished, you can restore tokens into the discard mat. I'm going to play it that way because the wording is specific. I am banishing a Shambler as sure as I'm rolling dice against it. So that lightens the token load. I can move 2. So let's go ahead and spend the second move going over here and get 2 tentacles thrown at me. Red works. Black, I guess I'm just going to have to live with it. Actually, I don't have to live with that. I'm the doctor. Let's go ahead and take a look once again. Peer into the soul of the Shambler, convince it to throw something else. A red, look at that. I got the same tokens that I got before. And I uncover that. It'll be hilarious if I got another couple of reds. Nope, that is an extra blue. I can't do anything with that. So let's go ahead and get rid of stuff. We are going to roll at, I only have the 1 token here. I could easily roll a 2. Let's not do that. Instead, let's go ahead and do this. Move 1, 2, or 3 of the same color madness tentacles from the Shambler mat to the discard mat. Let's keep stuff in circulation. So 3 blue tentacles onto the discard mat. All right, so now we got to get another good spin on that thing. It's got to go 2 revolutions. Wow, that is really impressive. Another good thing for me. So I'm going to put back a green and put 3 tokens right there. We have 1 red, 1 green, and 1 green. Getting close right there. A green Shambler is going to flood the zone here. And wow, this is about as crowded as it gets. Whoops. Looks like our astronomer friend over here has got to book it. Which, because they are full up on blue, they are going to move over here and have 2 tentacles thrown at them. Hopefully not a blue. Neither of those are blue. Can't do anything about that black tentacle. That's going to get stuck on the boss. But I do get a chaos tentacle, which let's see if that helps me. It certainly does. We got 1, 2, 3, 4. With the 1 wild, that is going to enable me to claim this Necronomicon page with lots of numbers. I've been getting 2s and 2s and 2s finally. Got a 4, and I got my first orange. Making real progress on this Necronomicon and unlocking the bottom row of Chaos Tentacle. Last one. This is the Astronomer, so let's go ahead and relieve pressure on these greens. All right, spin the wheel. We pull extra into that zone, so that's going to be 4 again. So we got 2 blue. 1, 2. You should be really pulling these one at a time, but that's okay. This would be funny. That's exactly it. 1, 2, 3. One more blue. That would be not good news. And a red. A green shambler shows up at the observatory, and we move the old one over there. The Plague Doctor knows where they are needed the most. Let's go ahead and uncover that. Ooh, definitely want that if I can get that enough green together. And I get a tentacle thrown at me. Hopefully I do get a green thrown at me. That'd be nice. Nope. Functionally equivalent. I like it. I got the Chaos Tentacle. So with 2 Chaos tokens, I actually could get it, but I'm going to leave it for the Astronomer. Instead, I'm going to use the power on the Met. Don't know if, well, I have used this one. Flip or discard 2 page cards. Let's go ahead and flip these 2. 2, 3, 5, green. Not so great. 1, 2, 3, 4. Woo, the numbers are great. The symbol isn't, but the numbers I can work with. On second thought, I kind of want to get this going because, grinding through it really does feel like a grind, I have to admit. Going through all 25 Necronomicon pages could be, a little bit of a bear. So let's go ahead and just get rid of all those tokens. The Doctor does indeed claim this Necronomicon page. Gets another one down. I already have the 5 claims, so it's just going to be 1. Getting that Chaos token unleashed, 3 and 4. So I am really not far now from being able to push the game into phase 2. Spin the wheel. I don't think I've gotten this yet. This phase, that is take a dream token and put it into general circulation or chaos tentacle. So that works out perfectly fine for me. And 3 tokens into an area that has no tokens. We got a green, a red. Saw that one second. And finally, wow, Cultist, welcome back to the game. Hi, Cultist, welcome back to the game. Oh, yeah, the green showed up that they needed to cast a spell. Oh, well. All right, so they cast a spell, the 1/4/5, which means they are going to bring out followers for 1/4/5. So we are going to put a follower right there. Going around 2, 3, 4, and 5. That was very impressive by the Cultist, and I was talking all the smack about them. Another red is going to show up right there, and the old one is going to mosey on over. That is going to force the Astronomer to vacate the premises. They'll go this way to start setting up to get that one, hopefully. The token that is being thrown at them at high speeds is a blue. Perfect. So we have room to acquire what we need. So we're going to acquire 2 tokens, the red and the green. And so we're going to spend 2 blue, red and green to claim this nice fat Necronomicon card. It's going to be their 4th blue, which is not the best in the world, and leave myself really thin on orange. I wonder how that's going to work out. But that is going to be 1, 2, 3, 4. So at this point, I just need a nice cheap 1 in order to do everything that I want, and I unlock all of these Chaos Tentacles to be available to me later. The Astronomer has 1 greed token. I could go after this thing, but I see Mr. Cultist going over here, thought they were cute casting that spell. So no thank you, sir. Taking your token away from you. Let's give the wheel a spin. We are going to do the blue effect. Oh boy. There is a blue effect. However, I am playing with that blue effect in mind. So I'm able to absorb what Mormon is throwing down. Or Mormo. Mormo is the easiest of the expansion bosses. So if you notice I'm having a decent time with them, I've played them before. and B, they are kind of meant to be a little bit of a easier on-ramp to this one. Mormo is displeased that I called them on the easier side because they just got 2 straight of the Eldritch Tentacles. So they're going to finally empower, clean this off, and pull the last one. And that green Shambler, since they're all on the board now, they are flooding everywhere. Just in case you were curious, if I have to place another green Shambler, I just got to move over to the blue, the red. So there's always a Shambler to place. Okay, so it is time for the doctor. They are going to reveal some cards. That color is good. The number is not. And we got a card over here. That color is good, and I just got a bunch of blues. So maybe the astronomer will be able to finagle that somehow. So that is the mat action, and now they're going to do a gather for 1 red and spend their blues. So they're going to spend the 2 and the extra to defeat the follower, because there's a lot of followers out now. Let's get that 1 back, put that on the 1, and get that. So I don't get a Necronomicon page, but I do get a symbol, which will be really, really helpful. Rolling 2 dice is far superior to rolling 1 against the portals. All right, more spinning, more tentacles, more tentacles that are coming out. Yes. So we get 4 instead of 3 into that zone that has nothing. Boom! We got a Chaos Tentacle for the Astronomer, a blue, a red, and a trigger for the Cultist. Where are you, Cultist? I kind of lost track of you. There you are. You're right in front of my face. Boom. No op. Wow. Astronomer did a real good job cleaning that up. The Astronomer is going to go expensive because it's sitting right there. So we have 1, 2 for blues, a red and a green to clean up this last Necronomicon page. The last page appears, the last 2 chaos tokens happen, and now this Necronomicon is complete. Blah, blah, blah. Same thing, same power. The portals are now open for business. The power resets, but they are going to start filtering out 4 per turn and 5 pretty quickly. So the pages stay out because the Cultist is going for the pages, and they're still going to cast spells. And the followers are going to get in my way. So the followers, they not only get in the way for the pages, they also get in the way when I'm trying to close portals. So where I'm trying to seal portals, they're going to absorb a damage that I do. So I am going to go after the old one. I can finally enter the old one square. However, even though I could roll all 3 dice, in order to close a portal, I have to have that tentacle on my mat in order to put it on there if I roll successfully. I do not have a blue tentacle, which is what I would go for. So instead, I'm going to spend that 3rd turn and gather that blue tentacle that I'm going to use for next turn. So that was the first 2/3 of the game. Now we're kind of hopefully entering into high gear. Wow, I am pretty surprised that I've managed that so well because I don't have a lot of tokens to distribute. I've gathered them all already. But the boss says, not so fast. Here, have some more tentacles. You're going to see more and more of these things. Got 2 chaos tentacles on that pull. So that go 1 each to my characters. And 2 green, which will be ready for my mat when the boss gets around to it. We have a blue Shambler showing up over here. And the boss hops over to exactly where the doctor is. So I can occupy the old one space in phase 2. However, I think the rule still stands where if I start my turn at the old one, then I have to move for my first action. Which is okay because I'm moving into a space where I can get 3 tentacles. Yes, I don't have any. I only have the 1 chaos in my mat. And so we have green, green, and chaos, which is, I think that helps. I don't want to move again and lose these green tentacles, but that's kind of where the game is now. It's going to throw tentacles at you, and you got to do your best to manage them. Here is a follower covering up a card. Right now, I'm just hunting for that last orange symbol, which that is not it. So just for the heck of it, really for the sake of spending tentacles, I'm going to spend 1 chaos tentacle and go at these Shamblers. Likely going to spend all of my greed token. Yes, there it is. I got the 2. So I'm going to spend 2 greed tokens to get rid of 1 Shambler. Now that puts this is the last one on the Shambler mat, back on the discard mat. So I'm pretty clear when it comes to that discard mat. All right, so I have actions left and ways to get more. So let's go ahead and bonsai. We are going to have 2 tentacles get thrown at us. Let's see, one at a time. Blue and blue. I don't have anything on my mat right now, so that doesn't really matter. And the game is telling me, go after blue? No, because I cannot roll against the blue portal. And I'm out of actions, so I can't put this on. You can put Chaos Tentacles on the portals. I just don't have the right collection of resources, so hopefully the boss comes back to me. That is the end of the Doctor's turn. All right, spin, spin, spin. So we are going to pull another token. So that's going to be 5 tokens into here. Good thing it's empty. Let's see. All right, so we have, I should be pulling these one at a time, whatever. At this point, let's just rock and roll and deal with it as they come. So 4 of the tentacles are going to go here. Remember, the number is 5 now because of the plus. This Chaos Tentacle is going to go on the Astronomer, which, it is possible now to get multiple Chaos Tentacles, which would wipe me out, take them out of circulation, and that would be really bad, but that did not happen, at least for now. Get a green Shambler to show up over here, as does the old one. A little bit closer to the Astronomer, which I should work out. Let's see. So here's where I'm a little bit frightened of making too much progress running around. So I'm going to use this as an extra action. I don't have to save it for the end of the turn. And I'm going to use the mat action. Add 1 Chaos Tentacle from the General Supply to the discard mat. It's the last one in General Supply. Fine. And I'm going to use this other one to move. So now, when I get 2, when I pull the 2, I have no chance of overloading on anything. I shouldn't say that. There's always a chance. So we did fill up here, but we're safe for now. So that was my first actual action of the turn. And now we are going to go after a portal with the blues. And so for my second actual action, let's go ahead and close one of the portals. I'm going to try to cover up the 3 right there. I don't have to declare it. I just have to say I'm going after blue. Plenty. Okay, so I did exceed the threshold. There's no follower there. Let's take that blue that I have and cover up to 3. I am 1/6 of the way towards ultimate victory. So I have 1 action left. I am going to clear my mat. So let's go ahead and attack these 2. And with 2 dice, I have 2 green tentacles on my sheet. There's 2 tentacles. So let's get rid of the 2 greens to get rid of the 1 Shambler. Nothing is trapped on the Shambler mat. There you go, nice and clean. So I don't know if I really needed to do that. I think this is kind of like Zerg the boss time, but just to be safe. All right, Astronomer, well done. So we are going to put more tokens out here, and then we're going to spread some love on the blue tokens, likely, since I'm pulling 5. That is a lot. So we got 1, we got 2, we got 3, which is a cultist token. So let's move them over here, and they're going to claim a blue. Oh man, the Astronomer wanted that blue. That's okay. We got a chaos token, so the doc likes that. Hopefully it doesn't get another one, because that would fill them up. And a red. So now we're starting to get to the point where I'm feeling a lot of pressure. But it is in where the dock is, so let's see if they can relieve that. Oh, look at that. So they point towards, I just replaced that thing, and the old one stays right there. All right, first of all, just to lighten the pressure on their own mat, they have 2 blues. So let's go ahead and try to get rid of some of my blues. That is a 2. That gets rid of all of them. And gets rid of that Shambler, which gets rid of 1 blue token from the Shambler mat. 2 more actions. Let's get a green. And with that green, we are going to get a blue and a red, which lightens pressure over here. Now, I have a chaos token. They exist to be spent. So let's go ahead and get that going. I now have 2 blues, which means I can move the extra zone. Let's go for it. I have plenty of green action to throw at the boss. But first, 2 tentacles right there. So I am back full up on chaos tokens, and the cultist goes again, and they are going to get a red for their spell. As you can see, they are pretty close to casting again, but I've managed them pretty good. So I think I'm at the point where I should just zerg the boss and let the board just do stuff. Enough of this conservatism nonsense. So let's spend a chaos token in order to get that going. I'm going to attack a green. So I have 3 green, and I have 1 to put on there. If I do succeed, hopefully I get the 3 again. I got the 3. Look at that, 0, 1, and 2. So let's put that onto the boss. I am covering up the bigger numbers. So yeah, let's go ahead and zerg this thing down. So we are going to spend another chaos token and try to get that red one on there. Only on the red one, I'm only rolling 2 dice. So if I get a 2, I'd be happy. I might just whiff totally. I don't whiff totally. I get the 2. That is really good news. Not sure how I'm going to get that 3 on there, but we'll figure that out. Cross that bridge when we get to it. And oh yeah, when I moved here, I did uncover this. It is important because I could get another red, but I don't. All right, back to the spinning of the madness, and I'm going to get assaulted with red. Assaulted. The doctor has plenty of spots. No open or no occupied by red, so let's give that to the doctor. The astronomer has 2 red. Not even going to think about that. So we got 4 coming into the park. 1 black. So that begins our journey into the second phase progression. We got 1 chaos. We got a blue and another chaos. Do not love when I get 3 chaoses. That does happen sometimes because there's more than a few in the bag. We have a red over here, and finally we get one of those Shambler-based explosions. So what happens is one of these gets put into the discard mat. This has been hanging out in the general supply the entire time. That gets filled up, ready to be put into the discard mat when ready. And also the blue power explodes, or the red power explodes on the boss, but there are no red tokens in any of the adjacent areas, so I'm safe for now. So the astronomer is going to use 1 chaos token to move into the area with the boss. The boss does not throw tentacles. I have no idea why they wouldn't do that, but anyway. So for their first action, they are going to take the blue and have that available to them. So that's what they look like right now. Rolling plenty of blue, and because I covered the 3 portal, I'm going to try to cover the 2 portal. That should be fairly easy for me. Watch me roll all zeros. That is not all zeros. That is 3. Enough to cover the blue portal. And so Astronomer has 1 action left, so they are just going to have a green and store that 1 for later, for reasons. All right, it is the doctor's go. Let's see what they get on the spin. More red. Everything's been cleared out. Feel really bad. I probably should have taken a boss that could do a lot more damage. But then again, no, I don't, because the last time I played this game, I lost it. All right, we got 1 Chaos Tentacle. That's for the doctor. They're empty so far. Here is a red, a blue, and a Chaos Tentacle. So that is 2 for the doc. This will begin to build back up again on Shamblers, and the boss stays right where they are. The doc is going to take a green because they are going to need a green in order to cover one of those portals, that one. Let's spend a chaos token just to get it out of my row and move over there, so that will be a free action. Prompting a reprisal from the red one, here is a blue, and that's going to go on my mat. I can take it. So they have 2 more actions, potentially 3, and this could be the game. So first, the easier one. Let's go ahead and throw ourselves at the green portal, which I only need a 2. Let's see if I can get our 2. That's plenty. All right, 4. Let's remove that. Put that right here. So I probably should have said this when I covered the blues, but at this point, the blues, neither the blues and the green can trigger now. So I'm basically shutting down what the boss can do, and the boss shut himself down anyway because there's not a lot of tokens. So I should be pretty close to victory as long as I get a 3 here. All right, so I theoretically have 2 shots at it because I have this chaos token. So I'm going for 3 on 2 dice. Never got a Necronomicon, so I couldn't get that third thing. What are you going to do? Let's see. I got it. That wasn't even Karen magic. It was just, I got it. There you go. Put that red on there. We have 6 closed portals. The Dread Mormo has been defeated. Like I said earlier, I have lost this game. I lost my last one of this, so I was really cheesed off and put in a little bit extra effort, apparently. Really just focusing, right? So I know how the boss works. I lost because I was not mindful of how it put tokens on my sheet. So I spent extra effort spending the tokens. I didn't save many on certain things, made sure the tokens could be absorbed. And also, I think the astronomer really helped out in gathering extra tokens, taking them off, and the cultist, casting their spells and everything. This is one of the easier modes and the easier versions. There's plenty of ways to make it harder. You could start with more of these in the bag, which means that the boss progresses faster. And there are harder bosses with higher thresholds for portals and nastier powers. In addition, there is a mode where you can play as a cultist. You can actually play this as a playable character and try to bring Cthulhu out while one of the investigators is animated, and they will be trying to get in your way. So that's a pretty unique spin on the basic game, although the basic game is kind of plays out pretty similarly overall. So there is a lot to explore in Tiny Epic Cthulhu. My sincere hope is that I've given you enough information, enough of the game to let you know whether it's worth your gaming time and gaming dollar. This is Jason with the One Stop Co-op Shop. We'll see you at the next stop.